Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my blog. Today's blog is called The Great Shift. How is everyone doing? I know it's been a bumpy few weeks, if not a bumpy year. We've had so many crazy things happen. So, I just wanted to create this blog once again. Probably haven't done this in a year. I wanted to share some of my moments with you guys because I just want to update you and tell you how my experience, how my journey has been. So this year I will say I've had a another spiritual awakening. It sounds crazy because in 2019 I had my spiritual awakening. I was in a relationship and it kind of connected me to some really, really amazing people, which led me to a session with Jenny Schultz. And I learned a lot about myself. I started digging into my stuff. I started healing my inner child. I started taking Reiki classes again. I just went back into myself. And in 2021, I decided that I was going to move to Colorado and I was going to try living out of state and trying something new. And oh my God, my journey here has been amazing. It has been eye opening. I have grown so much emotionally, spiritually. I've just walked into learning. I walked into becoming a woman, and I have so much gratitude and grace to what Colorado has brought to me. So, the first thing I was introduced to here was Cambo, with combo, however you feel comfortable pronouncing it. And a friend of mine introduced me to this particular medicine when I first got here. And when I went to the retreat, it really helped me reach monumental steps in my journey, healing journey, that I needed this medicine. I wouldn't say I needed the medicine, but it was definitely a tool to get me to a spot in my healing journey where it opened my eyes up to plant medicine and the wonderful things that it can do to help shift so much in me. I've been introduced to Hape, I've been introduced to Tabasco, and I just want to give gratitude to those who have introduced me to those medicines. I have truly learned that my family, friends, all the people that I've met here, and all the people that are a part of my soul's experience, I just give you guys so much gratitude and grace, and I want to thank you. But with that being said, plant medicine, I started a retreat October of 2021, and when I was introduced to Cambo, I worked on some ancestral trauma, childhood trauma, but it wasn't until this year that I was called to do DMT. And I've done quite a few different other medicines, holistic medicines, plant medicines, whatever you want to call them. And I just recently did DMT a few months ago. DMT was, whew, it was rough. I can't say it was an easy experience, but it was the experience I needed for my soul's growth. So when I did DMT, my friend Jenny, her husband, facilitated the ceremony for me. My friend Nikki was there, and another one of their family friends were there, and I wore this bright yellow dress. Yellow has been a color for me that, reminds me of my childhood. And during my ceremony, it feels like you die. It feels like you're going to the light. DMT is the same chemical that you release when you die, and it's the same chemical you release when you're coming into this world. So, during my experience with DMT, we cleanse the room, we create the sacred space, and, you know, I saw the light and I felt this huge amount of, I felt love that I've never felt before in my body. And, I was resisting the medicine a little bit, and then they sat me back up and they made me take another hit of the DMT, which is like a smoke that you inhale. And then I went back into the ceremony, and this particular being came out of me. It was a dark entity that I had completely suppressed in my subconscious mind. And I've been wanting to share this for quite some time and being vulnerable with everyone about my experience with plant medicine. And this was the most life-changing thing that has ever happened to me, probably in my entire life. And then, during that time, I felt like a kid again, and I felt scared, and I felt all the emotions I felt when I was a child. And luckily, I had people around me that loved me fully and has been a part of my soul's experience for who knows how long, probably since the beginning of creation. But in that moment, it made me realize my patterns. It made me realize my cycles. It made me realize what my ancestors went through. And it taught me that it was time to stop being a slave to this matrix that we're in. It taught me to love myself fully, to no longer have any darkness within our subconscious, but to let it come to light, and to fully say that you are worthy to be human, that you're worthy of God's love, and that we are one. We are not separate from God. We are not separate from each other. We're all one. So all the things that we put into our lives to separate us, whether it's race, color, whether it's sexual orientation, whatever it is, political views, music, whatever, that we need to take this time and fully be at peace with just being one with ourselves. And in that moment, in my frightening moment, my friend tells me, well, Sierra, you need to remember that you are a vessel of God in God form. And it just hit me. I was like, wow, she's right. So with the understanding that I am a vessel of God in God form, it also made me realize how connection, doesn't separate us, doesn't divide us. And when we go into fear, it leaves us open to negative timelines. It leaves us open. And this made me go back to healing my inner child. It made me go back to my 5-year-old self that, was open to magic and that was open to the spirit realm. And it gave me that time to remember who I was. So this blog is called The Great Shift because it's time for us to be the great shift that we need in our soul's experience. To remember that we're one, to remember that we're all connected, and having that remembrance, and remember that we are light, remember that we are both dark, we are both light, that even in our darkest moments that we are not separate from love, because love is the only frequency that exists. So in that experience, I've been integrating and shifting in the last few months. And I think last week, this whole month, I have had, I've had these moments at my job where I was like, I'm just not as happy as what I need to be. And, I wasn't ready to leave my job. And when I got let go of my job, it was something that I wasn't ready for. But I was like, well, Sierra, you weren't ready to move to Colorado. You weren't ready to break up with your ex-boyfriend. You weren't ready to quit that job. You weren't ready for it, but God pushed you. When it was time for me to break up with my ex-boyfriend, 4 years ago, I didn't want to deal with the changes. I didn't want to deal and face my fears of being alone, and I didn't want to face my cycles and repetitive things that I continuously created in my life. But it was time. I needed to move forward. And even if I didn't like the push that I got from God, it was needed. Even though I didn't like or I was uncomfortable during my Bufo ceremony, it was exactly what I needed. Exactly what my soul needed. So I want all of you to take this time and remember the cycles and things that you've been through in your lifetime. Remember the things that you went through over and over and over again. And when you ask yourself that you still made it, that you still had money in your pocket, that your car was still running, your children were still taken care of, even though you felt like you were defeated, but you weren't. You had it all. And that's what this soul's journey has taught me. It's taught me that as long as we trust in as long as we have faith, and as long as we trust and have gratitude for every experience that we have in our life, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's scary, whatever emotion that comes up, embrace it. Let life crack you open. So when I started this healing journey, I was scared. And I'm still scared. There's still pieces of me that need to be healed, but it's a layer. So give gratitude to your layers. Give gratitude to your good. Give gratitude for that person. Forgive. Forgive those who hurt you. Because when it is time for you to walk into your purpose, you can say, I've been through all of these things, but it never broke me. It made me stronger. And a friend, when I started my healing journey, said to me, how can you change everyone around you if you don't change yourself? So I urge you to be the great shift that you need, to go inward, to dive in deep, even if it's the most scariest thing and darkest thing in the room. Bring light to it. Bring love to it. Bring it to your mom. Bring it to your dad. Bring it to your friends, your family. Bring it to that boss. Bring it to your coworkers. Bring it to the children that need it. Because with this great shift, it is no longer time to self-sacrifice anymore. It is no longer time for us to be in fear. It is time to walk into our purpose. It's time to be one again. Not divided, one. I don't know what my next journey is going to be. I know that God told me that my last journey was ending, and it scared me. But even if it scares me, I know that I'm safe. And every aspect of me has to know that it's going to be okay. It's going to be just fine. The more that you support yourself on this journey, the more that you take accountability for your own suffering that you participated in, that you made yourself suffer, for yourself. And I'm still learning this myself, because that's a part of my human experience. And with being human, I know that I'm going to fall short sometimes, but I can give gratitude to whatever is going to happen. So I just wanted to share this blog with you. I wanted to give everyone encouragement, including myself, to let go of our fears and to walk into your purpose, to know when you're worthy for the next step, to pick the highest timeline of your highest good, whether it's quitting that job, whether it's leaving that toxic relationship, whether it's stepping into the path that may feel a little bumpy at first, because I'm not going to say this journey is easy. I'm not going to say that all the things that I've been through wasn't hard. It was. But it has got me to a point where I can look and say, as long as I'm okay within, everything can be a reflection of that. As long as I embrace God's love, embrace God's gratitude, and embrace God's generosity, I know that I'm going to be okay. So you tell your mom, you tell your dad, you tell your friends around you how much you love them. And grieve. Feel every emotion that you need to feel in this human experience. But don't stop. Continue to go. And in those days, I'm going to reflect back on this blog, and I'm going to thank myself for not only saying this to you, but saying this to me. It is time. It is time for us to let go of the dense energies. It's time for us to be who we came here to be. I love you. I will see you on my next journey.